Trucking is absolutely cooked right now. What are we gonna do? Everything's going down. It's the end of the world. Might as well just pack up the bags and go get a different career. But on a serious note, it is going down a little bit. We are seeing the rates come down. We're gonna go over everything. This is why right now it's super important that you stay only in good areas, because once you go out somewhere where it's not good, you are really gonna screw yourself. Because if you end up in a bad area, you're really gonna take some damage on your RPM and the rate coming out of there. So this is why this week's video is super important. So make sure you watch to the end. Let's go over all the hottest markets for the dry vans and the flatbeds. So if you guys are ready, another week, another trucking market update. Let's get into this. Dry van is taking a beating right now. It fell under $3 for the first time in a long time. It's at $2.96 national average rate per mile, which is crazy. There's a lot of dry van areas that are falling off very, very quick. So you got to be super careful what areas you go into. It's super sad to see it dip under $3, especially with fuel not going down yet. So this is some bad news. This is not something I want to be reporting to you guys, but we have to be super careful right now because this is not looking good so far. Flatbeds did plummet a little bit, but they're still holding strong. $3.60 national average rate per mile. I'm doing flatbeds personally, so I can tell you right now, the volumes are a little down. The rates are definitely down because you're not hitting the $6, $7, $8 per mile anymore. But I mean, you're still doing pretty good over the national average rate per mile. And again, with the flatbeds as well, it's very good to position yourself in the good markets right now to make sure you're not screwed. But, you know, everything looks like it is going down so far, but so far the flatbeds are staying still pretty strong. Like I said, if you're staying in good areas, you're still going to be making good money with the flatbeds. The one and only reefer update that we do, national average rate per mile for the reefers comes to $3.37 per mile. They plummet down too. I'm getting a lot of complaints that the reefer market is taking a crap right now. Let me know in the comments if you guys got reefers, what it's looking like for you. I know we don't go over them, but that's the news I'm going to break to you right now. I'm hearing bad things, and the national average rate per mile is falling down every single time for the reefers so far. Diesel prices did go up just a tad, a little bit, 0.75%. They're at $5.35 national average per gallon. So again, like right now, diesel prices are way too high, and if the rates are falling down, this is not good for us. Diesel was going down for like 2 months straight, a little bit over 2 months straight, nonstop, and then all of a sudden, we know what happened. Not going to keep on mentioning it, but then they spiked up again. They kind of leveled up a little bit. Now, you know, they're kind of just tad going up. We really need them to go down ASAP, especially if the rates continue to go down. Now, as always, before we get into the actual markets, if you don't have DAT, you need the DAT Load Board. Go in my description, go to bobbyloads.com/offers, get a 10% discount for the first 12 months. And if you already have DAT, but you don't have the market conditions and the trend lines, all that kind of stuff, upgrade to that package. Make sure you take care of yourself, because right now it's more important than ever to make sure you stay in good markets. Let's get into it now. So it is Sunday, so we're going to have to take a look at the last 8-day average, because searching yesterday is not going to help us at all. But here's a bird's eye view for the dry vans, the market conditions map. We're not going to go over a bunch of markets. We're going to go over all the best ones where you need to stay at right now to make sure you're getting the best money. Because like I said before, right now it's very important to stay in good markets, because if you don't do that with what's going on with the volumes and the rates, you're going to put yourself in a very bad predicament. So in my opinion, it's better to take, you know, decent money from one good market to another good market than, you know, taking really good money from a good market to a crappy market and then having to pay for it once you get there, having to lay over or take a cheap load for a lot of miles to come back, mess up your RPM and everything. So let's get into the dry van hottest markets, which you need to be staying at this week to survive what's going on right now. I don't think this is going to be forever. I think it's just a little dip right now. There's too much stuff going on. Like the fourth quarter is coming up. You know, the holidays are coming up. So, I mean, you know, back to school is happening right now. We still got, you know, Halloween, Thanksgiving. There's a lot of stuff that's going to be working in our favors. But right now, for some reason, the last 2 weeks, the market's been really down. So this is why it's very important to make sure to make it through it, you stay in good markets. Let's take a look at the Midwest first. Here's the cities and the markets I would stay in right now to be safe. Just going over it, Chicago, last day average has been pretty good, over 4,500 loads. 575 trucks. Again, not 100% accurate, but still, these are pretty decent numbers. Southern Chicagoland, still over 3,300 loads, 417 trucks. Again, cut the loads in half, triple the truck count if you want. You're still in good shape, right? Indianapolis is definitely a market that I'll still feel comfortable going in. Columbus, Ohio is still doing pretty damn good. And Cleveland, Ohio. As for the rest of them right now, like Pittsburgh, Louisville, St. Louis, you still might get decent loads coming out of there, but the volumes over there are just not as good as I like them to be. So the only markets in the Midwest I would feel comfortable right now are the ones I just mentioned. And again, like say if you're from the Midwest, you live here, maybe it's a good idea to just bounce around the Midwest a little bit for the next week or two and see what happens, instead of trying to go out there and get stuck in a bad market, you know, and then, you know, just mess up your money, mess up your RPMs, just mess up your time and everything. But these markets right now, the ones I just mentioned, I'll definitely feel comfortable being in them. you're still going to get a shot to take really, to get really good loads out of those markets. As far as the rest of them, not something I want to vouch for. We could be searching loads today, but I really don't want to concentrate on searching loads too much today. I want to concentrate on making sure you guys have a strategy for the next week or two until we see what's exactly happening, right? With the rates plummeting a little bit, the volume still, I don't think, look too bad as long as you're in decent areas. But the whole point for this week's video is to make sure you guys stay in good markets to make sure that you are profitable until we know what's going on exactly. For the East Coast, this week we're going to treat Pittsburgh as if it's the East Coast and not the Midwest like I usually say, because right now Pittsburgh's numbers don't look too bad, but they're kind of falling into the East Coast numbers. So if you get stupid good money going to Pittsburgh, I would say just take it, but then, get out of there and head to another good market for a little bit cheaper money. But at least Pittsburgh, you're not going to be too far out of the way to when if you get like really good money going in there, you could take cheaper money going into a different good market, right? So I would say Pittsburgh, you go there for really good money. Central PA right now, I would, again, really good money, right? Upstate New York, like Buffalo, I'd still go. Upstate New York, I wouldn't do it. Connecticut, I wouldn't do it. I know it's showing red, but that doesn't mean anything, dude, because the numbers are just not there. Massachusetts, I just wouldn't do it right now. Northern New Jersey, Eastern PA, and Southern New Jersey. Probably Maryland and Virginia, I would say as well, too. These are all areas, remember, the rates you're going to get out of there are not going to be the greatest. But if you get stupid money going in there, take it, and then expect to take a cheaper rate going down because the volumes over there still look like there's loads over there. So you're going to get a load, but again, the rate might not be what you like. So make sure the money going in there is really good. Then get the hell out of there. You're not too far away from better markets. So just take a cheaper load back to a better market and then redo the whole strategy again. Again, this week and next week, it looks like the strategy is going to be super important to make sure you stay profitable. Now we're going to go into the Southeast and the South a little bit, see what's going on over there. It does look like the volumes are going down a little bit. Charlotte, just over 2,000 loads posted in the last 8-day average. We might check Charlotte. Memphis, I checked for sure. If you're going to go to Memphis, look, the rates are not going to be as crazy as they were, $5, $6 a mile. Like now, if you're going to go to Maryland or something, you're probably going to be looking anywhere from like $3.60 to $4 a mile, depending on the day. If you catch somebody that's like desperate or whatever. So Memphis is still going to be good. Huntsville, Alabama, the volumes are kind of scary low. So I want to search Charlotte, North Carolina, and Huntsville for sure. Atlanta still has very decent volume. So if you go in there, you probably are going to get a decent load out of there because the volumes are there. But Charlotte, Huntsville, and Memphis, Charlotte and Huntsville, I'm getting scared a little bit. Memphis, you're still going to be good. Northern Louisiana, volumes are crazy down right now. Dallas, you still got volume. And Houston, you still got volume as well. Fort Worth, volumes are down a little bit, right? So I think those are still going to be the best areas overall. But let me just search Charlotte and let me search Huntsville, Alabama and see what they're looking like. The other ones we mentioned, you're still going to be safe over there. Again, you're not going to be getting these crazy rates, but the volumes are there. So you're going to be better off in those areas than other areas, and that's for sure. Huntsville, Arkansas, let's take a look at the drive-in market over there. Remember, this is Sunday, kind of like late evening. So when you come to work tomorrow, there's going to be a lot more loads. But just taking a look at it, it's not looking too bad, man. Like, Lewisburg, Tennessee to Cincinnati. Cincinnati might not be the best area, but there's a lot worse areas out there. $1,700, $511 per mile. Multiple, okay, never mind. This one has multiple drops. Red Bay, Alabama to Batavia, no crazy notes. $26.97, $438 a mile. That's not bad. Florence, Alabama, short run to Atlanta, $1,050. You probably don't want that one, but it's $399 a mile. No crazy notes. Jacksonville, Florida for $390 a mile out of Decatur. I don't think you want to do that one, but it is an option if you need to go down there. Almost at $4 a mile. That's not bad. Lewisburg, Tennessee to Covington, Kentucky, $327 on miles, $12.50 on a rate, $382 a mile. That's not bad at all either. You know what I mean? That's pretty decent rate per mile. I mean, a bunch of other places going to Georgia, Florida, Whitetown, Indiana, $337 a mile. That's still way above what the national average rate per mile is. So taking a look at Huntsville, Alabama, I think you're still going to be good if you go there. Obviously, probably if you're going straight there, you're not going to have like a load that pays you a lot of money unless you get like lucky. But if you get one of those good loads that go down there, I think it's a safe area to go to. So I think that one for the South is still safe to go to with the drive-in. Good old Charlotte, North Carolina still looks good, man. It was scaring me a little bit looking at the volumes, but this is why I say search the markets before you make a decision. So that way you know what you're getting yourself into. But there's still a lot of good loads, man. Marion, North Carolina to Findlay, Ohio, 556 miles, $2,800, $5.04 a mile. You're going to Ohio, just deadhead a little bit, which direction. You should get a good load out of Ohio as well. Kirkwood, New York, 481 a mile. I think that's worth it going up there and then taking a little bit cheaper load coming down. No, 2 deliveries. Depends how far they are from each other. Darlington, South Carolina to Kingsport, Tennessee. You're looking at 443 a mile, $1,400 on 316 miles. No crazy notes. Just want E-Tracks. So Kingsport usually is a decent area. So I mean, Virginia, 392 a mile. It's a little bit short run. Mass, $3,000, 386 a mile. Pass on that one for sure. I mean, Maryland, $1,500, 377 a mile. And again, these are just loads posted on Sunday evening. Tomorrow, you're going to be able to negotiate if you got a truck out there. So Charlotte is still looking pretty good. So all these areas we just went over for the South, I think, they're a lot better than being a bunch of other places. Like all the dead zones right now, like the Wyomings and Montanas and Colorados, please stay away from them. Try to stay in decent areas, even if you got to you're going to think you're going to make less money because I could take this load for that much more, but you're not calculating how screwed you're going to be when you get there. So it's better to take a little bit cheaper money, bounce in good areas, you know what I mean? And maybe just gross a little bit less, but keep your RPM high, and that way your profits are still going to be good. Because you know what I mean? This is the first time that I got to really report that, trucking is looking a little down right now. And it's fucked up because we've been doing good for so long that it's kind of sad to even report this. But again, this is why it's so important to stay in good areas right now. Now, let's do the West Coast for dry vans. Los Angeles, that is the West Coast. I would not go to Washington, Oregon, any of those states. Northern California wouldn't do it. LA's been doing really good. If you get good money going in there, if you're going to take $1.96 a mile, going from the Midwest to Los Angeles, I wouldn't recommend that. But if somehow you end up in Los Angeles for decent money, you should be able to get a decent load coming out of there. We could do a check really quick. Might as well just make a little load check, see what's going on. But if you go from Los Angeles for good money to Texas or somewhere in the Midwest or somewhere in the South, you're going to be in good shape. But the problem is they pay cheap ass going out there, so it's hard to get a load that's going to get your RPM at a decent level in order to catch it back up once you get out of there, right? So let's take a look at LA, but that's going to be the only place that I would say I'd feel safe having a truck in for the West Coast. Again, this is Sunday evening, but here's a look at Los Angeles. The rates are not that crazy coming out of there. Might change tomorrow. For example, there's a team load, but if you don't have a team, you're screwed. 370 mile to Chicago. That would be good if it was just for a regular drive-in, not a team. But then if you go to Santa Clarita, California to Mount Pocono, PA, that's another team, 348. And then Montebello, California to Forest Park, Georgia. Team again, Jesus Christ. Yeah, these are all team. These are all team loads, man. Scranton. Okay, so Lancaster, California to Scranton, PA, 8,400, 311 a mile. I mean, 311 a mile is still over, the national average rate per mile. But these rates are not that crazy for me to be I need to get to California. If you get there for a good rate, go do it. But as you can see, not that much stuff over $3 a mile. And if national average is 296, it's probably going to be hard unless you're consolidating to get to California for about that national average rate per mile, right? Because they pay cheap as shit going over there. So again, man, if you need to go there and you get a good rate or something like that, go ahead and go there. But would I recommend going that far in there and take that many miles cross country and just mess up your RPM? Personally, that's why I don't do it, and I wouldn't do it. But if you guys do it, you do it. Who am I to judge you? But that's what's going on. There is a lot of volume, there is a lot of loads, but the rate per mile is not that great out of there. Bird's eye view of the flatbed market conditions map. Still looks red everywhere, right? But you can't trust every single red market. You got to do your research on it. But overall, the flatbeds are still doing the bust. So let's go over the flatbed market, see which ones are going to work for you. Flatbeds, Midwest, let's check it out here. Chicago, 1,484 loads, 101 trucks. You'll probably still be able to get a decent load at Chicago. Indianapolis, looks like it calmed down a little bit, 870 on the loads, 47 trucks. Columbus, Ohio, volumes are down too, 711 on the loads, 54 trucks. Cleveland still looking pretty damn good. Pittsburgh looking decent. St. Louis area, volumes are down as well. Louisville looks halfway all right. So I would say Detroit, not the best looking either. Right now, I'm just going to be honest with you. For the flatbeds, just try to stay down south. Even I kind of messed up at the end of last week, even though I did end up doing really good with the dude because I took him, I forgot where he was at. Oh, Alabama. And then I took him to Lubbock for $4,700. But then out of Lubbock, I had to take $3 a mile, right, to St. Louis for over the weekend. And even though his RPM was still pretty good, it was over the national average RPM. But overall, if I sent him to Dallas instead or somewhere in a better area, I would have hit a lot bigger home run. You know what I mean? A lot better rate per mile at the end of the week. So you got to be careful where you're going to. Lubbock is just too far west. I think as far as Dallas, Houston, maybe even like San Antonio sometimes, because you could deadhead out of there a little bit and still pick up a decent load, that day. So with the flatbeds, you really want to stay south as much as possible. And if you go anywhere else like the Midwest, or maybe East Coast, make sure you get a lot of money and then bounce right back down again. Just because the flatbeds are doing the best right now, it doesn't mean they're not affected by the volumes and the rate, cuts that are happening right now. So again, you got to be very careful. I would use the Midwest and the East Coast as just like a bounce back point and try to stay in the South as much as possible right now. East Coast for the flatbeds, man, did I mess myself up this week, man. I got a guy going to Massachusetts, man. I had to, though. He had a half a week. I send him, where did I send him? I sent him to good money somewhere, and then out of there, I bounced him to Chicago. Actually to Michigan, but then he had a load for him at the yard, so he's taking that load. He's going to Mass for like $5 a mile. But even though it's $5 a mile, Mass is just so far away from any good market. Is gonna just ruin me for next week. But I got to make sure I book him a load quick tomorrow, get him out of there, right? So don't go to Mass. Don't do what I did. I messed up. I kind of had to do a little bit of favor for my boy because that's the only load he had available, and he needed it gone, so I just did it. But like Mass, Connecticut, stay out of there, man. Don't go farther. Northern Jersey. Northern Jersey got volume, but the rates are not good. Once you get into like Philly, the rates are getting a little better. The volume's good. Like Maryland, I've been having luck, but like Central PA, it's rough too. We got a customer out of there, so we get like pretty decent money coming back to Chicago. But if you don't have customers there, I wouldn't really do it. West Virginia, I have gotten lucky there lately. Has been going down a little bit again, so be very wary of West Virginia. And then Virginia, you should be pretty good because you're really close to the Carolinas and stuff like that. So again, please don't do the mistake I did. Do not send your trucks to Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, upstate, all that stuff. Just don't do it. Now let's get into the South. With the flatbeds, I really don't even got to search the markets because I can tell you guys which ones are good since I do it like every single day. In the South, anywhere you're gonna be, maybe besides like don't go too far east on the coast. But anywhere you're going to be, like Greensboro, you should be good. You're close to Charlotte. Charlotte, you're going to be good. Atlanta, you're going to be good. Anywhere in Alabama, you're going to be good. Anywhere in Mississippi, you're going to be good. Arkansas, just don't go too far west. Central Arkansas, obviously Jonesboro, right by Memphis, you're going to be good there. Shreveport market's super good. Dallas is good. Houston is good. All the usual stuff in the South is good, but you're not seeing those like $7, $8 per mile loads anymore, right? Right now, like if you're getting like $4 or $5 per mile, be happy with that because that's what the market is right now. It did shoot down quite a bit. But still, the South is definitely where to be at. I'm not even going to report on the West Coast because the West Coast, I just would not go there, especially right now. I just don't trust it for the life of me. But stay in the South with your flatbeds. That's where the money's at. Search your markets before you send a truck there to make sure you know what's going on. Like for example, I mentioned the Lubbock, Texas. I kind of messed up, but it was pretty good money coming out of Huntsville, and it was long miles. And he's still gonna hit like 10K for the week, so that's good. So I don't kind of regret doing it because he went from Chicago to Huntsville to Lubbock, and then Lubbock, back up to St. Louis. He's gonna be there tomorrow empty. So out of St. Louis, I'll see what I'm going to get, but I still feel better being in St. Louis, try to bounce them back down south. But again, stay in the South. If you got to come up to the Midwest or the East Coast, don't go too far north in the East. Bounce right back to the South. Make sure you get good money going to those areas and keep bouncing around. If you could, just stay in the South and bounce around. Just stay in the South for the flatbeds. This is a very sad market update. This was like the saddest one I had to do since I started doing these videos on YouTube's here. But it is what it is, and this is why it's even more important to make sure you get DAT and their market conditions and trend lines and all that stuff to make sure you stay in good markets. Once again, thank you for watching. If you don't have DAT at all, go to my description, go to bobbyloads.com/offers. Use my link, 10% off for the first 12 months. If you already have it, I don't get anything for it, but upgrade to the package to make sure that you could check the hot markets so you can stay in them, especially in times like this when it's very important.